Hello and welcome to the first of what we hope are many interviews with those from the EC and team leaders from around Outpost 10F. I am Rich Smith, the Blue Report editor, and the latest edition of the EC is who we're talking to today. You know her as Trinity. Who else are you around the Outpost?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's either Trinity or some sort of weird variation thereof.
It is great to be with you today. Thanks for taking some time with us.
No, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, and it's exciting to actually see video recordings of these things now. So,
We're always trying to make things better over in comms. Uh,
I feel
you've been. Oh,
like
go
I have
ahead.
like a champagne to like bust on the computer right now.
That could get hazardous to the computer's health. How long have you been a member of the Outpost?
Oh, geez. Since like middle school or slightly before.
Wow.
I remember the day that my niece was born, I logged into chat and excitedly was typing that I'm an aunt, and I was only 12 at the time.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I don't actually remember my registration date because when they did the level 2
Yeah.
refresh, I have the standard reset date, and I really
Okay.
wish that I knew what that was, but I just kind of ballpark it to some time.
And I'm not going to ask you how old you are because you're probably going, yeah.
No, 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 I'm 28 and a half. I'll be 29 this October.
So you've been
And
around about as long as I have.
yeah, yeah.
I just
I've been around,
celebrated 16 years.
I've been around longer than David even, or
Wow.
Hydra. I call him Hydra. He doesn't like people knowing his real name. Oops.
Oops.
But I think I beat him by like 3 years.
Wow.
So started it was me, Rage, Caitlin Richards, and I remember seeing Tanya and Kayla around, but I never really talked to them because they were like mature older kids.
And
I
now
just
we've seen the pictures on how you've corrupted them.
yeah. Now they have to deal with me all the time. So
Well, not so much Alicia because she lives across the ocean, but she
I
tends
think
to come back.
I talk to her regularly on my lunch breaks.
Oh, okay.
So she'll message me and we talk about how similar our husbands are, which is kind of scary.
Oh, so what is something that those that, are just joining or have been around for a little while, what would they want to know about you?
Which part? The online persona or who I am in real life? Because one's far more interesting than the other.
Should we
Um,
should we try and guess which?
probably. Um, I have been described by some of the OTFers I've met in real life as the only difference between my online persona Trinity and myself in real life is that I'm a lot more hyper in real life, believe it or not. Um, I'm going to school, right, trying to go back to school right now. I'm taking some credits so that I can apply to a master's in research psychology at Arizona State University. I would like to be a scientist and actually get to use people as guinea pigs and write fancy papers. That's me in real life. I like to knit. I like cosplay. I obviously am a huge fan of high fantasy and science fiction. I frequent cons on a regular basis, and that is pretty much all there is to me. I have cats. I named one after a Final Fantasy character, and the other one was named after a Star Trek character. So,
Cool. Well, favorite cosplay to date then?
favorite cosplay today. I'm working on right now. Have you played Portal 2 or
Once.
Portal? Okay. I have the Aperture Science jumpsuit,
Ooh.
and I have the tank top that goes with it. And right now, I'm trying to figure out how I can build myself the portal gun. So I'm not sure if I should, invest in Worbla and try to spend $80 per sheet, or if I can use foam and try to make something that looks almost as good. And then I'm probably going to lean on Hydra's expertise as a mechanical engineer to see if I can build the long fall boots.
We were
But
talking a little bit ago, and cosplay is not a cheap hobby.
no, no, it's not. You could easily spend upwards of $700 on any type of screen accurate outfit. Thankfully, I do have some connections. Like I know Rage in real life works for a place called Ravenswood Leather, and they do a lot of really nice work there.
Cool.
So if I needed to get gauntlets or anything for like a Tariel or like a Link cosplay, I would go to him definitely, and I'd get something that's pretty nifty. So
Awesome.
I have connections, and then you learn how to do things on your own, and you learn how to, when you can just spray paint something and call it good, and when it needs to have a little bit more detail. So.
Speaking of, getting into the nitty gritty of things, you were in engineering for what seems like forever. What
I
made what made you want to take on senior manager of entertainment?
Honestly, I think it probably just fits my personality a little bit better. I mean, with Katrina and Alexis working in engineering, they definitely have more of the technical mojo there. And for me, between my past experience with different departments and, making Hydra my AM, his experience with entertainment, we figured we could take it somewhere new and interesting. And, we're leaving it in good hands because Katrina and Alexis are awesome. And between the four of us, we could probably even coordinate together. So if we want to do some huge event sometime in October and do something Harry Potter themed, then we might be able to coordinate, ways to theme the chat and, brainstorming with you and working with Alicia and, finding a way to kind of collaborate on things and just kind of pull everything together and work together as a team. But I think it definitely fits my personality to run around and be amusing to others more than hiding in a closet and making avatars all the time.
Now you're still doing a few projects over there. I understand, the avatars, and then you're still working on that Firefly room.
The Firefly room is actually close to being finished because
Ooh.
Alicia has picked up some of the artistic ends of that I don't have the capabilities to do myself. But yeah, I find some repetitive labor soothing, which is why I like to knit and why I like to paint and sew and make costumes. So I do work on the avatars mostly because repetition and while I'm watching something helps me unwind after a stressful day. It's kind of a weird thing to admit, but
Entertainment has had a
it's hard to let go when you love something.
yeah. Entertainment's had a pretty rocky road over the last 8 months to a year, and you're just coming in. You've gotten your feet wet a little bit. What are some of the things you want to see happen?
One of the biggest things that I remember from entertainment's heyday about 10 years ago is I remember there was just a lot more clearly defined structure. So one of the things I've been working on is I'm actually drafting an employee handbook and a management handbook and kind of looking at some of the old data and restructuring it because a lot of the expectations haven't been really clear. So some of the people who've come in and tried to deal with the department, it's been very ad hoc, and it's really difficult when, you're just kind of trying to pull something together and you're using all the resources that you have available. But sometimes if there's not a structure to support you, you can only go so far. So one of my main goals would basically be to establish, how many hours realistically should you be putting in a month? How many hours should you be putting in a week? What is your responsibility? What isn't your responsibility? When something catches on fire or goes south, who do you contact? What do you do? And just kind of have something agreed upon so that when people have questions, we have something to reference and kind of bring that up to date and sort of give everybody a vision of what we want to do. So I do want to start seeing trivias at least every other week. I want to have them planned in advance. I want to have them on the departmental updates board. I want to have them on the Facebook page. I want to have them on the Twitter. I want people to know what we're doing, when we're doing it, and to have some kind of consistent schedule. In addition to that, I know that gaming is working on a new website. I know that there has been talk of developing an OTF new game. I know that they want to do reviews and they want to explore a lot of different exciting things, and so I leave that in Tor and Mikhail's capable hands. I know Ice is working with them too, so they're going to do great things. And on top of that, I've talked to you about the possibility of doing a podcast. That might be a little bit further down the road because we talked about some of the costs involved that I just kind of have to eat. but we have a wealth of knowledge at OTF. So it would be really easy to talk to people who are experts on Star Trek, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, A Song of Ice and Fire, and talk about whether it be anything from the engineering specs of the Enterprise or fan theories for what's going to happen next in Game of Thrones. And there's just so much that we could tap into there. I think it'd be something that not only current members would appreciate, but old-timers would appreciate. And most importantly, people who are just interested in the topics we love could possibly hear this and think, you know, this is a place that likes to discuss things I'm interested in. So hopefully they'd hear that and want to come and join the conversation.
So you want to try and get the teams you've already got cemented down, and then maybe do a little bit of expansion later on?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have tons of ideas of things I'd like to do, but it's not really worth it if, you know, I leave the people I already have hanging. So get some stuff sorted out and get things kind of up and running, and maybe take the rest of the year to do that. And then once everything is kind of running smoothly enough that I can just kind of leave people sort of not unattended, but more or less autonomous, you go on, you move to something else. Another thing that I'm working on right now with Tanya, Katrina, Chucky, Ruth, S, is we have this idea for a party planning committee.
I've heard of that.
Jarek passed away in January. We all kind of got together and remembered him, and it was really nice for everyone to come in, and Tanya said, yeah, we should do this again sometime. And so kind of posting a time and date on a Facebook page, letting everyone know that, you know, you might not have time, but if you come in at this particular time, you know, you'll see a lot of the people you're used to seeing. And we really liked that. So we decided to do something again. We did something last week. Was it last week or the week before? I think it was 2 weeks ago, after the conclusion of the series finale of Game of Thrones. And we just had like a random party. And people really enjoyed it. There was a good turnout. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there because I was at my sister's wedding. And just kind of brainstorming with different games that we can play, because not everyone is a PC gamer or a console gamer, and not everybody likes trivia. So the goal would be for us to eventually have a little bit of something for everyone.
You mentioned the wedding, and I've seen some pictures. I gotta say, Hydra cleans up well.
I know, but you can't tell anyone, and he doesn't want to ruin his reputation.
Well, okay,
Don't
then
tell
we'll
anyone.
we'll take a tangent here, and you've joined the EC now, the almighty EC. If people knew what was really involved with it, they'd just shake their head. You know?
I was really surprised at all these sacrificial animals that are involved on a weekly basis.
Why you hide your cats? You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's Tanya, man. I'm telling you, I hide my kids.
I know. That woman feasts off the blood of the innocent.
But what would you like to bring to the table in that group? You know, most of us have been, with the exception of Al and Katrina, who were placed a couple months before you, they've pretty much settled into you know, exactly what they want to be doing. What do you want to bring to the table?
I think the biggest thing I've had to offer, and every job I've ever had, is enthusiasm and ideas. I definitely have lots of energy. I've been told that multiple times by just about everyone I've ever met. And if there's any one thing I could accomplish, it would be hopefully to unify people to a purpose and then help them get it done. So when Katrina says, hey, I need a little extra help with this, or do you have ideas with that, to be able to just go with her and just run with it. So I definitely have a get her done mentality, and I think that's probably my strongest asset that I bring. And prompt email responses is going to be like on my top list of things I want to do, because sometimes it's easy to just sit there and lurk and watch the conversations happening, and you forget to kind of, you know, jump in. And yeah, that's
Hang my head in shame.
You're not the only one, Ian.
Ooh, calling out the CIC, dude.
Yeah, no, really, it's really easy to kind of just lurk because everybody's pretty involved and things tend to go smoothly.
At this current moment, I think I'm still logged in because I think I forgot to log out at work, so I'm lurking and don't even know it.
So when Ian impromptu demotes me to CL1, everybody needs to know that it was this video that did it.
You've met a lot of Outpost members in real life. In fact, you just got together with a bunch not too long ago. I gotta ask, what was the apple all about?
That's Donnie. Do you not know that?
I may have been told that at one point, and now that you say that, it sounds familiar.
I don't know why it started happening. It's almost as big of a mystery as why JD is a toaster. Um, I'm sure if you ask Kayla, she would tell you. But once upon a time, I think she told Donnie that he used his avatar too often. So he just randomly logged in with a green apple avatar
Oh,
and
okay.
just left that as his setting for years, which then spawned conversations of, Donnie, why are you an apple? And he just started calling Alicia a witch. And she turned me into an apple because apparently Alicia is a witch and she turns people into apples. And so we missed Tommy because he wasn't able to join us in Las Vegas. So we decided to make an effigy of him and carry it around, and we did.
Who are some of your favorites over the years? Obviously, you married one.
Yeah, I'd say that if I had to pick a favorite, it would probably be Hydra. Who else
Probably.
met? I think the first person I met was somebody who hasn't even really been in chat in over a decade. I think she only ever came in consistently for about 3 months. Her
Wow.
handle is Lachesis. We met when we were 11, and she just stayed in touch with me ever since. So we traded snail mail, phone calls. I ended up visiting her for the first time, I think 6 or 7 years ago. And so she is very easily just my best friend because we stayed in such close contact. And I was homeschooled, so she was like my real friend that I talked to all the time when mundane things happened. And so I adore her. Her real name is Jessica, but I'm not going to say her last name because
Yeah,
I
that's
could
fine.
respect her privacy. So she ranks up there pretty high. Hydra, I really still need to meet Caitlin Richards because I am on her cell phone plan because she's a lovely person. And once when I was going through a bad breakup, she let me get one of those $10 lines added onto hers. And I came this close to meeting her in Rage last week, but unfortunately the flu infected our
Ah,
family and we were held behind. I've met Katrina, Alexis, and their son Emmett, and they are fabulous, wonderful, fun people. Emmett wore me out because he's got a lot of energy. I've met Eagle. He's really fun. He's got a great sense of humor, a lot of personality, and is always up for adventures. Who else? I met Numbers and Kiko, and we once spent St. Patrick's Day with them, so that was lots of fun.
I bet you.
And
There are some stories from that one.
somehow, Monty and I both grew up in the Pittsburgh area, but I never ended up meeting her.
Oh,
Mostly because she offered to meet me, but I was like 12 or 13, and I was like, stranger danger. Which in hindsight is just kind of really funny because it's Monty and she's harmless, so.
and that's kind of interesting because you and I grew up 2 hours apart. Never happened.
Well, I didn't have a car. I could have probably tried to ride my bike, but I think it would have ended badly.
Yeah,
So
especially on 79 North.
definitely, I'm gonna have to organize some more trips to see people. Oh, and Alicia, I did talk about Alicia. And Alicia is fantastic, and she and I think very similarly. So it's really easy for me to have a conversation with her that's only half understood because we think sort of along the same veins, and we'll skip thoughts and sentences. Hi. I'm doing an interview right now. If you want to say hi or hide. Okay, go eat.
He's home.
He's home.
uh,
He's turned.
I got to ask now, and this is something I sent you the list of questions ahead of time so you could get this question down pat. Why Firefly?
And we talked about this a little bit before. Just the things that you like about it, and I gave it some thought, and what it all comes down to is love. It comes down to love. You can do all the math in the verse. You take a boat in the air you don't love, and she'll shake you off as sure as the turning worlds. Love keeps her in the air when she ought to fall down. tells you when she's hurting before she keels, makes her a home. And when I watch that show, Rich, when I see that ship, I'm home. It's all about a feeling.
And you said the room is almost done.
Yes. Kayla and Katrina and I are kind of doing a lot of the finishing work. A lot of it was sort of done a couple years back as kind of a dry run for the King's Landing room. And then King's Landing came in, and I'll be honest, it just raised the bar because we had so much talent go into that, looking at some of the older graphics, we're like, we got to step this up because it worked really well for, pre-King's Landing and pre-Bardis. But after that, like, it's a tough act to follow. So hopefully we'll have that up before the end of the year, depending on, how available my artists are. But, fingers crossed we'll have something before the launch of, the new Star Wars movie.
Cool. Now I'm going to throw you a curveball.
Sure.
Anniversary's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear that you're in charge of planning some things?
Yeah, the party planning committee is going to be set loose on that.
Ah, cool. Anything you can share now, or are you just going to leave us in suspense?
Get really familiar with the beards on characters.
Okay.
As cryptic as that is, I will recommend that.
Well, I'm going to start my new one here in a couple of weeks, so,
I demand picture updates on a weekly basis.
I tried last year to do a selfie a day so that you could see it, but I just, at one point I lost a couple of days and, but I did keep it for 8 months.
I'm willing to go out there on a limb and speak on behalf of Katrina, and that if you can provide us with that, we might be able to make an animated avatar of the growing beard.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool, actually. You heard it here first. I'm going to get a custom avatar. Well, I'm going to let you go and talk to your husband. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been awesome.
Always a pleasure. We should do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Have a good night.
All right, you have a good one. We done?